off washing machines, 25% off refrigeration, and up to 30% off dishwashers. Make January great again, at least for a few hours. And check out our health and wellness range. The January sale, now on at appliancesdelivered.ie.
With a new car ad every minute on Done Deal, it's easy to choose one that's right for you. Whether you're planning the ultimate road trip or the school pickup, find the perfect car for any adventure on Done Deal. Discover and drive.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
So it's Thursday night, 7:30. As always, John Giles is on the line. Evening, John.
Evening, Nathan.
Premier League back this weekend. We'll have a double header live here on Off the Ball on Sunday. Spurs against Manchester United. First up, though, we're at Goodison. It is Everton against Bournemouth. And a lot of the talk around Everton at the moment, John, is centred around Seamus Coleman and the fact he's dropped out of the side for their last league game and also didn't get his place back in the cup, and question marks not just at club level but also at international level about his place because Matt Doherty's in such sensational form for Wolves. What have you made of Coleman this season? Are you surprised that he's dropped out of that Everton team?
I'm amazed, Nathan.
Right.
You know, I've seen Everton a few times. I thought he was back to his very best. I thought he was certainly one of their best players. And I'm amazed at him. I saw him for the second time. He was out of the team there at the weekend, and I thought first of all he was injured, but that's not the case. He's been left out of the team. I can't make it out, Nathan. I really can't. You know, the Everton are not going that well. They're a bit mixed, and I tell you, I'd say Manchester United would be looking at that situation, and a few other clubs, Nathan.
You don't think then at 30, having had the horrendous leg break that he had and having had to battle back from fitness, you don't feel that he's lost something, that maybe the chance of that sort of move to a club like Manchester United, it's gone? I don't.
Well, it might be gone, but not because he's not right. I think he's as fit as ever he was. And usually when you see a lad coming, or a player coming back from as bad an injury, he's had a bit nervous going into tackles and various things. Don't see that at all in Coleman. I think he's really, really back to his best. And again, I'm only repeating myself now. I can't understand why he's not in the team. You know, usually when a lad comes back, you can see, well, he's not as fit as he was, and he's jumping out of tackles, or he's not as brave as he was. Don't see that in Coleman at all. I think he's back to his very best. And, 30 years of age for a lad who looks after himself, I'm sure the way he is, certainly has a reputation for it, he'd be a big asset to any club.
They've had a horrible run of form over the past month or so. Everton just one win in 7 matches after a 6-week period before that where they actually showed signs that maybe there was improvement been seen under Marco Silva. Is it just a case sometimes that you need a scapegoat as a manager? You need to look at one of your experienced players and drop him and show that nobody's safe?
Well, that's called bad management, Nathan.
Right.
If you drop a player because he's for whatever reason, bar not playing well, and you honestly believe as a manager that somebody else can do a better job in that position, that's what good managers do, and the personal situation doesn't come into it. But I don't think that's the case in Coleman's situation. You know, from what I could see, unless the manager can see something that most people that I know about Coleman, I just can't make it out. But if you're dropping players out for certain reasons, apart from the fact that they shouldn't be in the team, well, that's bad management.
What does Coleman do now then? Do you have to adapt your game if the manager has looked at you and well, obviously has decided to drop him because he's not happy with his performances? Does Coleman just put the head down, keep doing what he's doing and trust that he'll get back in? Or do you need to respond in a different way? Do you need to change the way that you play?
Well, you can't change the way you play, Nathan. That's the way you are, and that's the way you do. Obviously, there are different formations where you have to adjust to the formation that the manager's playing in. But from what I see of Everton, the formation hasn't changed. Coleman was getting back when he had to be back. He was getting forward when he had to get forward. So I'm only looking from the outside, but I can't see where Coleman can improve on what he was doing. So obviously the manager sees things in a different way. Everybody sees things in a different way. But certainly if I were a manager of another top class team, Manchester City or any of these top class teams, I'd be looking at that situation with a view to getting Coleman as quickly as I could.
Right. That's interesting. You say like you don't feel he's doing anything wrong, because I was going to ask you that when you do hit 30, and as I say, when he's had the injury, and maybe your game in that right back position particularly is reliant on pace. If as you get older, you do need to change slightly. You do need to think about things differently to suit the capacity of your body almost.
Well, that can happen, but mostly for fullbacks, you either have the pace, you don't have the pace. I think in midfield you can get away with it a bit as you get older, Nathan. But I think lads at 30 are only at the peak of their careers. I mean, players are supposedly, or most of them are fitter now than they were in my time. But I can only talk for myself. I felt with players of his calibre are only hitting their best at 30. They've got the experience behind them. They're fit enough. Coleman's definitely fit enough. I've seen him up and down the line. He's running brilliantly, and he should be at his peak. And after that, it depends how long you can maintain that peak form, Nathan. But certainly 30 is, I mean, if you look at all the great players, 30 is nothing. I mean, I know from my own point of view, and I'm talking about myself again, when I was 30, 31, it was definitely my peak years. And then it's a matter of, can you keep your fitness? Can you hold it? Then you play for as many years as you possibly can. But I can't see any deficiency in Coleman because of his injury or because of his age.
It's strange considering he's 10 years at Everton this month, and he's been such a legendary figure, and he loves the club. I think he's had chances to go and he's decided to stay. He seems to like everything about Everton. Yet still, when he scored his goal against Brighton back in November, you saw the emotion in the celebration, having a bit of a go at the supporters because they've been having a pretty consistent go at him, it seems. Is it just the case that, I don't want to say he's there too long, but quite often, like, they spent over 100 million during the summer. They bring in 5 or 6 new flashy players. They've got the French full-back Luca Digne over on the left-back position, bombing up and down the pitch, that sometimes you can just be there too long, that the supporters they just don't appreciate you as much as they once did. Well,
that can happen, but I don't know if the supporters were having a go at him or were having a go at the team, Nathan. You know, I didn't actually see that. And I'd be amazed if he had to go back at the supporters. I mean, he loves Everton, he loves the supporters there, and they love him. I'd be very surprised if they were having to go at him. I think they might be having to go at the team because they haven't been playing very well. But all those things don't really come into you. You're either playing well enough to be in the team or you're not. Age shouldn't matter if you're still the best player, and that's up to the manager to do that. I mean, if lad's 32 and the manager doesn't look at it and say, well, he's a bit old now. Is he doing the job? Is he not doing the job? And I haven't seen any situation or any match that I've seen Everton where Coleman wasn't doing the job.
If he does force his way back in, I think most people expect with the character of Seamus Coleman that he will do just that. And he goes on and he ends up spending his entire career in England at Everton. Do you think that was the right thing for him, or do you look at his career and his talents and think there was a missed opportunity there to go and play for one of those bigger teams you're talking about, to go and test himself at an even higher level, a Champions League level?
Well, I think a few years ago when Manchester United were shown in it, I don't think there's any way that Everton would let him go. I mean, the only time you let players like Coleman go is when the money is too big to turn down. But Everton are a big club. And Coleman himself, being the good lad that he is, never wants to leave Everton. He loves the place. And if you're happy in the place that you're in, Nathan, playing, and it's a big club, and a very big club, actually a great support in that, then there's no reason to go anywhere else. I mean, you could look and say, well, you know, Manchester United, if they wanted him, he could go. He's playing at the higher level, or certainly winning things. Well, that is attractive as well. But everybody's different, and Coleman seems to be a really, really solid lad, a terrific lad. So I'd say he would feel grateful to Everton that they gave him a chance, and he would be repaying that with the loyalty that he's given. And that's what you want for good lads. And I'd be surprised if the manager doesn't recognise that and embrace him rather than leaving him out of the team.
It's also raised questions about his position in the international team, mainly because in that right back, even though he plays slightly further up the pitch as a wing back for Wolves, but Matt Doherty's just been an absolute revelation as a Premier League player this year, getting linked with Tottenham this week. It means it's one area of the pitch where Mick McCarthy looks quite well stocked. When you have two players, and they're probably playing at the highest level of any Irish players at the moment, Coleman and Doherty, Do you have to make a choice between them, or do you have to find a way to get both of them into the team?
But Doherty's played at left back for Wolves before. No, I'm sure if Coleman had to, he'd play it right back. No, I've seen Doherty a few times. He's a good lad and he's a very good player. He's a bit to go before he's as good as Coleman, in my opinion.
In what ways does he need to improve?
Well, no, he's a good player, but Coleman's been an exceptional player.
Yeah.
I mean, if you only go back a short time where Martin O'Neill was saying that if Coleman had been fit, we would have qualified for the World Cup. He's definitely been the leading player in the Irish team for at least 2 or 3 years now. But Doherty, I like Doherty playing as a player as well. But Doherty can play left back. There'll be nothing wrong with that. If we have two good right backs, you don't have to pick between the two of them, one of them. Pick one of them if you have the other lad that can play at left back. And Doherty has played for Wolves at left back and done exceptionally well. So Doherty's a very, very good player.
Funny enough, Doherty maybe is in a similar-ish position to where Coleman was 2 or 3 years ago, where everybody's talking about him. His stock has never been higher. And he's at a moment where he may sign a new contract with Wolves for big money, or it may be a case that this is the moment he gets that chance to go to a club like Tottenham. Like, I'm sure you had opportunities during your career to leave Leeds, even though you were at the time the big club. Like, how difficult a decision is it for a player to make that choice between remaining committed to a system and a manager and a club that has given you the big chance that's made you that player, or just taking the risk and going?
Well, I can only talk for myself. I didn't want to leave Leeds. And in those days, you couldn't leave the club, Nathan, unless they wanted you to go. There was a retain and transfer system in place that even when your contract was up, you couldn't leave unless the club wanted you to leave. Where now, if the player's contract is up, he can walk away and the club can't have anything to do with it. But I must say, in my time at Leeds, I didn't want to leave. Leeds. You know, we were a successful team. There were a good group of lads, terrific players, and I didn't want to go anywhere else.
Right. You're not ruling out, and you're not writing off Seamus Coleman, anyways. That's the main thing you've got there.
No. I'm amazed at the situation that Seamus Coleman is in, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get back into that Everton team.
All right, a lot more we want to talk to you about, John, but we'll take a quick break.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
Okay, so you're off to Dublin, maybe for an Aviva Stadium event, a concert, or a show at the 3 Arena, RDS or Bord Gosh. You'll be needing a great place to stay, a place that's close to the entertainment, and just minutes from Dublin city centre. A place with beautiful modern rooms, great bar and restaurant, a place you can book online and get the guaranteed best rates and offers direct. Well, thank goodness there's the Sandymount Hotel. Visit sandymounthotel.ie for details and bookings.
Out with the old, Yahoo for the new. Brave colour, embrace texture, be utterly you. The fabulous Fulton Corner sofa now just $1995 at Casey's. Give your home a passion, a spark, a heart. With prices like this, you're ready to start. The King Coil Celebration Mattress now just $999 at Casey's. Enjoy up to 50% savings to fill you with glee. The winter sale is now on at caseys.ie, with stores in Cork and Limerick and fast nationwide delivery.
Tom, so glad you came.
Oh, yeah.
You'll absolutely love this movie.
I hear it's really amazing.
This bit, it's so romantic. Well, that takes the biscuit.
Here's something that you will be interested in. Avantcard's great introductory credit card offers on money and balance transfers for up to 9 months.
Tom, wake up.
Find out more at avantcard.ie. Limited time offer. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. New applications only. Avantcard DAC trading as Avantcard is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
On Hanlon's Corner on the old Cabra Road beside the new Lidl, there lies something old and something new. The something old is P.H. Ross, and the something new is their exquisite new bathroom and tile showroom. Discover the bathroom you've always dreamed of, or the bathroom you'd love to dream in. The P.H. Ross annual showroom sale is now on, with huge reductions across all bathrooms, tiles and accessories. Private consultations and installations can be arranged. That's the P.H. Ross Bathroom and Tile Sale, now on.
Turkish Airlines Sales Festival has started. Buy your ticket until the 26th of January 2019 and fly until the 10th of December 2019. Discover the world with Turkish Airlines special fares. Terms and conditions apply. We fly to more countries than any other airline. For more details, please visit turkishairlines.com or call your travel agent. Turkish Airlines. Widen your world.
Whatever's on your list, come in and see how much you can save at Lidl. Check out our 3 for €9 mix and match meats like fresh Irish diced beef, smoked haddock fillet and breaded garlic chicken Kiev. And try our big brand super savers like Dolmio sauce, just $1.49, and Kerrygold Irish butter, only $3.25. Lidl, more for you.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Welcome back. John Giles is still on the line. It's been a very, very good week for Manchester City, John, starting off with the victory against Liverpool last Thursday night. 7-0 win against Rotherham in the FA Cup, and then that game last night against Burton, a 9-0 victory in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final. Interestingly, the first side in the top 4 teams of English football to score at least 7 goals in back-to-back games since Leeds United did it back in October 1967.
I don't remember that.
9-0 against Spora Luxembourg in the Fairs Cup and 7-0 against Chelsea in the First Division. I had a very quick look and you actually didn't play in either game for some reason.
No, that's why they won.
What was your thoughts on City last night? I saw a train of thought after the game that they should have eased up at 5 or 6-0, that there was no need to absolutely humiliate Burton.
No, I think, I'm only talking now my opinion, Nathan. I think if you eased up and took it, you're being more disrespectful. I think Nigel Clough said something like that after the match. You know, you have to keep going, do your best as a team, and then as far as Nigel Clough is concerned, you have to take it on the chin. But I think if I were a manager in a situation like that, and Manchester City started taking it easy and flipping it around and messing about, I would find that disrespectful. I think City did what they did. That's a professional performance. They were behaving in a professional way, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I think Nigel Clough gave a very good interview after the game, whereas he pointed out that many Premier League teams will go to the Etihad and have gone to the Etihad and have conceded 5-6 goals on a regular basis. So for League One side to go there and concede 9, maybe it's not that unexpected. And on the alternative, I guess, is that you start showboating at 5 or 6-0.
Well, you can showboat it. Well, I mean, I've got to be careful here. We played Southampton years ago at Leeds and we beat them 7-0 and we were showboating. But again, it was done in a professional way. You know, I played against a team one time, I think it was the late Ralph Coates. They were beaten as well, and he was sitting on the ball in the corner and all that. And certain players did that over a period of time.
Who was that sitting on the ball in the corner?
Ralph Coates.
Right.
The late Ralph Coates. He played for Burnley at the time, then went to Spurs. And I've seen that happening when you're being well beaten, that players are messing about. Do you know what I mean? And I remember we played Southampton one time. We were winning. I think we were winning 6 or 7, and we were flicking the ball around in a skillful way, Nathan. You know what I mean? Like, I know afterwards we talked to Southampton lads. They didn't think it was disrespectful. It was done in a certain manner because of the scoreline. And I think that's what Manchester City did the other day. They just kept playing as you were supposed to play. And I think Nigel Clough, who was a pro, who was a very, very good player himself, would accept that. I think he said that after the match, didn't he? Something like that. Anyway, Nathan.
Yeah, I guess for his players, it was they wanted to go up and get the full Manchester City experience, which they most certainly got.
There, Nathan, from Nigel Clough and from Burton's point of view, I mean, it was a huge achievement getting to the position that they were in the semi-final of this cup. And they're a club that would need the finances more so than Manchester City or some of the big clubs would. So they get a fair bit of money from last night, and regardless of the result last night, they've sold out at home next week. So this was a big achievement for him to do what he did. I know they got a hiding on the night, but there again, as you said, most teams get a hiding from Manchester City from the lower divisions. Anyway, a lot of them do, and they're capable of doing that. So overall, you got to look at the position overall from Nigel Clough's point of view. Getting them to the position that they were in to receive the hiding was a big achievement in itself.
That 7-0 win against Southampton that you're referring to, I think I've heard a lot of Leeds supporters who remember those times very well, and that successful team is like that was the standout performance. They felt that was the peak, that was the ultimate Don Revie side. Is that how you remember it?
Not really. You know, it was great for the support. It was a great exhibition stuff. There was no doubt about it, Nathan. But to be quite honest, when it got to 4 or 5 on that particular day, I wanted to come off.
Why?
Because the game is over. I used to enjoy the game when it was, say, 1-1 at Anfield, particularly 1-1 or no score, and it was anybody's game, and you really, really had to do your stuff.
Yeah, you like the test.
Whereas Southampton the game was over really as a contest. I wanted to come off, and Doherty said, "No, stay there," and that's when I did anyway. A couple of times flicked the ball around, but not in a disrespectful way to Southampton. But I always felt like what I enjoyed most was playing at Anfield under the lights, very close game, and you really, really had to do your stuff. Southampton, when the game is over, then it's exhibition stuff after that, really, Nathan.
Was Anfield your favourite ground to play in?
It was one of them. Yeah, we were neck and neck with we got promoted in 1963-64 when Liverpool had actually won the league. They were really coming on under Shankly. They won the league, the cup, and the league, and we were a young team. And then I think it was 1967. Liverpool won the league when we were coming on to our best. Actually, Liverpool didn't win the league for 7 years after that. So from 67, we dominated Liverpool until obviously the next great Liverpool team came along. But they definitely dominated us in the early part of our rivalry. But there were great games at Anfield, under the lights, great games. They would be my favourite games.
And people now talk about, I don't know, the Liverpool crowd being a knowledgeable football crowd. Was that the case then? Was there an appreciation for the talents of your team?
Well, I think Liverpool had that reputation later on when they were really winning. The Dalglish, Souness, Hansen years, where the supporters could afford to be, I would say, givish to the opposition.
Yeah.
Because they were winning. But now, when we played them in our day, like in my time day, they were never givish at all. They were a great crowd, a great passionate crowd, still are, as you can see. But we wouldn't be among their favourites. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's easy to be appreciative of the other team when you're beating them, I guess.
Yeah.
Just on Liverpool, then, before we wrap up, they play Brighton this weekend. Lost to Manchester City, then were beaten by Wolves in the FA Cup. And listen, you can't win when it comes to respect these days, because while City are saying they're not giving enough respect to Burton because they're battering them, Liverpool disrespecting the FA Cup by resting players. But does that result in any way, because it's 2 back-to-back defeats, does it stall the momentum, or do you think, is that game against Wolves, can you just write it off?
I'd say you could write it off, Nathan. It's everything changes so quickly. I mean, a couple of weeks ago when City lost a couple of games, are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? Then they beat Liverpool. Liverpool beaten at 2 games, and it's another. Are they going to do it? Or are they not going to do it? But in their case last week, they rested an awful lot of players against Wolves, and City can afford to rest a lot of players with the panels that they've got, and still turn out a very, 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 very good team. Liverpool haven't quite got that resources, and I think in the long run, to be quite honest, I think it could be a blessing in disguise for them when they're on the real run in for the Premiership.
To have that break.
Definitely.
John, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, Nathan.
John Giles joining us every Thursday at 7:30. If you missed that, you can listen in on offtheball.com. It'll be up online very shortly. Some good stuff there on Seamus Coleman and how he's not done just yet. Now, Off the Ball, in association with Horse Racing Ireland, will be previewing the Dublin Racing Festival from the Sugar Club on Thursday, the 24th of January. We'll have an all-star lineup from the world of racing and beyond, including Niall Quinn, Nicky English, Davy Russell, Rachel Blackmore, Patrick Mullins. They'll all be alongside Kevin Kilban, Johnny Ward, Ger Gilroy and John Duggan. We'll be previewing a massive racing weekend taking place at Leopardstown Racecourse on the 2nd and 3rd of February, where top jockeys and trainers will be competing in 8 Grade 1 races for €1.8 million in prize money. This is an exclusive off-air event, so the only way to enjoy it is to be there on the night. Go to offtheball.com/events now to get your tickets. They're free, but you must register, print them off or have them downloaded onto your smartphone. And remember, this event is for over 18s only. It's all with thanks to the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown Leopardstown Racecourse on Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of February. Get your tickets for the festival now at leopardstown.com. Quick break and then we're back with Stephen O'Donnell in studio.
Join the conversation. Text us on 53106. Texts cost 30 cents.
The Harvey Norman Big Sale is now on, with big savings on home appliances, like the Dyson V8 Absolute Cord-Free Stick Vacuum with up to 40 minutes fade-free suction for just €349. Or get the Dyson Hot and Cool Fan for just €349, saving you €100. And at Harvey Norman, we've matched all competitors' prices, so